Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Parody Podcast show hosted by me, Rachel Evans, aka the Human Barbie. So let's get right into today's episode, and we are on season 5, episode 5. So as we are now in the middle or heading towards the end of October, I just want to share with you guys my gym mindset update because I'm on peak week. So I'm 1 week out before an event. So for you guys who have been following my diet and fitness tips on the podcast, I just want you to know that this is the most challenging week I've ever had. So I'm training as a bikini athlete to compete on stage next year, but I apply this in my gym training program for when I want to get bikini ready for a photo shoot or wear my nice skin tight bodycon dress for an event that's coming up. So it means that this peak week diet is the most brutal part of the diet. And I want to share with you the challenges and my mindset to look good in my dress for the day and then to maintain the diet. Most of you guys know it's a struggle to look good and to be healthy and fit. So I want to talk about top things that I am dealing with right now. I want to remain consistent. I want to remain focused. And consistency to me is just turning up, putting in the hard work and doing the workouts and remaining consistent on the diet. So sometimes I might not feel like training, so I've got to listen to my body. I've got to adjust the macros, protein, carbs and fats. And I might have to miss a training because I can't lift because I'm so depleted. I'm just telling you guys where I am with the diet and the training. But it's not all a bed of roses. And I just want to say it's a struggle. Peak week is a struggle. The diet messes with your head. You feel very down. You can get depressed. And that's when your diet and your experience on the nutritional side of the diet comes in handy. So I used to do a 2-week cutting diet, which I've been on when I'm competing for going on stage in a bikini as a bikini athlete competitor. So Sarah Bridges, rest in peace, was an IFBB pro judge and she wrote my diets. And I've always applied her diet and training to my Barbie body. So this is peak week that I'm on and it's a cutting diet. So those of you who don't know what a cutting diet is, it's when you're getting rid of body fat and you cut the carbs and then you will adjust your macros of protein, carbs and fats. So I want to look healthy. I want to look good. So my peak week now has got me to the point where I'm maintaining the body shape and the weight that I've got. So I'm now 52.88 kilos and I've gone down from just under 57 kilos. And obviously you lose the body fat, your muscles become more cut, but basically without going into too much of the details, peak week is very different because you have to be okay with the mindset of missing a workout if you don't have the strength to lift. And I learned that from my coach when I was a bikini athlete back in 2013 and I competed for 4 years. So the final week before an event is the same diet and cutting that I do for a photo shoot or for an event. And the training is a daily struggle. It's a daily struggle, guys. So you can have demons in your head messing with your head, but I just tell myself it's the diet. Don't worry. It's a passing cloud of doubt or feeling bad. And you need to reach out to your friends or your family and just talk to them about it. I want to look good in the pictures. I want to look good at the event for the dress that I'm wearing. Now, I didn't have a lot of weight to lose, but I definitely was carrying body fats, which I've talked about in the previous podcast, where I needed to shed the fat and become lighter. And I feel healthier as well. So in the real world, this is what happens. You feel bad when you're on the cutting diet, when you're on the peak week, and you've got to know how to deal with it. So I'm cycling the carbs at the 2-week prep mark, and then I'll adjust the protein, carbs and fats macros. And I've noticed that this week, my peak week, I'm very depleted. So I will only do about 3 workouts. And I learned this as a bikini athlete. If you overtrain, you'll burn out and you'll lose your muscle gains and you won't look great. You'll look so drawn and haggard. I can't afford to do that because I've got to look good in my dress. But when you're on stage, you kind of bear in mind that the worse you feel, the better you look. Anyway, so I am physically fatigued and at the same time, I feel great, and it sounds very contradictory. But if you're cutting and you're on a body fat percentage drop, you're going to feel bad, but you're going to look good in the mirror. So that's where I am. And I've got to tweak the gym training accordingly. So you guys have heard that I won't miss a workout, but on peak week, you have to listen to your body, because if you go out after a day's work and you're training and you don't lift properly, you can have an injury. So it's all about lifting with the strength training with good form. So I've done 2 workouts this week. So it's like 4 workouts because I do 2 workouts in one go. So I've done the Stairmaster half an hour twice, and I've done 2 strength training workouts. So my shoulders are bigger. I'm flexing now, guys. I don't know if you could see, but my shoulders are bigger. My biceps are coming through. My abs, my obliques are coming through. I don't have a 6-pack, but I kind of have obliques. The lines down the side of my abs, they're looking very perky. And my glutes have lost a couple of inches off the lower glutes, which is good. So I'm very happy with where I am. And I always say work with the body shape that you've been blessed with. But mentally, I'm strong, but it does get to me. The peak week diet gets to me because I'm so teary, and that's just the diet, you know? So you really have to moderate your training. And that's what I've done this week. I'm now 3 days out on the peak week, and I'm so drained of energy. I'm exactly where I need to be because I weighed in this morning at 52.88 kilos, and the training's done. So the training should be done before your peak week. And that's why it's called peak week, because you've got to be very flexible with your diet, your training, and know what you're doing, or you could lose some of the gains that you've made. And I'm not prepared to do that. So like I said earlier, you should be where you want to be in the final week before prep week, before the peak week. Sorry. The thing about peak week is you get brain fog, and then you might even forget your words, forget your name, forget what day it is. I drink a lot of water, I drink a lot of liquids, and I don't do the depletion of the water. So I keep the carbs super minimal. I do the rice cakes, I increase the protein, and I've just moderated the fats. So when I'm feeling very depleted, what works for me is I increase the fats. But this is only what works for me, guys. And I'm on very low carbs and vegetable carbs, but right now it's the rice cakes. So I felt really down this week, and rest is important because you're losing body fat and your body's struggling to get the energy because you don't have the sugar, so it's hopefully burning the fat, and as a result of that, it messes with your head. So I'm preparing for a photo shoot. So that's why I'm doing the cutting diet, which I started at the beginning of August. And then it's a cut before a cut. So those of you in the bodybuilding industry, you know what the challenge is that I'm facing right now. It's a struggle. Your mindset is a struggle, and you have to be okay with changing the consistency. So consistency to me is not being perfect every day. It's just doing something on the program that you're on and never giving up. Consistency means never give up. And you have to be okay with your dietary allowance and tweaking it, increasing the carbs or increasing the fats. For me, if I increase the fats when I'm feeling run down, that really works for me. Like I'll have the Nutri protein almond butter. It's like a spread. And I'll have it with rice cakes. Reduced sugar jam on rice cake will just perk me up. Obviously, your protein sources are really important. I do tuna, a lot of tuna, and the eggs. See, my brain's foggy. I can't even think egg whites. So I'll do egg whites because you want to reduce the yolks in your final 2 weeks of the cut. When you're feeling drained, how do you cope with that? So say you go to work and you've got a full day's work and you've got to come home, do your chores or do whatever, or do your family stuff, or, you know, just get ready for the next day. And then you've got to go to the gym, work out, and then you've got to cook. I have that. So how do you focus when you're feeling brain fog? Well, you have to rest. You have to be able to be okay with cutting away from your social life and resting. And my special friend Stevie's helped me. He's on the cut with me. I couldn't have done it without him. You've always got to have that one friend who can be there with you when you're struggling mentally with the diet and the training, and someone you can check in with daily. So we check in 3-4 times a day. It's great. And thank you, Stevie. Love you loads. And he's one of my besties. And you've got to be tough with your mindset, and you've got to be okay with allowing your body to rest when you feel like you should be in the gym. And I learned that because you don't want to have burnout. And Stevie was like, you don't want to burn out. You need to increase your calories or increase the carbs. Be careful. So you need someone to give you the support so that you don't feel guilty about missing a workout. But peak week, which is the week I'm talking about in this podcast episode, is different. You don't have to do that level of training because you're supposed to be where you want to be before peak week. So I dial in. And I'm dialing in perfect. Anyway, so say I'm in London for meetings. I get home. I feel like I need to sleep. I'm walking up the stairs, like literally exhausted. And I think I've got to go to the gym. I'm like, do I want to go to the gym this tired? So I do my Stairmaster cardio, half an hour, but I've tweaked it for peak week so that I'm not over exhausting my body. And as you guys can see in my face, I've lost weight, but that's fine. I increased the fats so that I can have a healthy glow. And you've got to know when to stop. You've got to know when to stop and say, I can't train because I'm too exhausted. And you must know what you're doing, because all the hard work should be done at least before the 2-week mark, and then you're on maintenance. And before peak week, which is the 7 days before your show as a bikini athlete, or the 7 days before a photo shoot, or the 7 days before being in front of the cameras, which is what I'm doing, you've got to be there. And then you maintain and you tweak the diet, but you've got to be very experienced and know what to do. So as I tweak the diet, the macros of protein, carbs and fats, I adjust it on a daily basis depending on how my body feels. Normally you don't, you just do the diet, it's brutal, and the training. But peak week's different. It's a really brutal diet and training, and the mindset. It's all about the mindset and being okay with being on a carb depletion to the point of you don't know what day it is. Anyway, so it's also okay to say to yourself that these negative thoughts, which is the diet messing with your head, it's okay to tweak your diet so that you can feel mentally strong. So if I'm so depleted or I feel depressed, I'll be like, increase the fats, you'll feel better. And it perks up your brain, because it's like a light bulb in your brain going on or off. I know I'm not depressed. I'm very happy and positive Barbie. But if you feel down, you've got to tweak the diet so that you can perform and your brain can function. You don't want to burn out. And that's what Stevie has been there for me, saying, don't burn out. So you've got to be consistent, but you've got to be okay to tweak the consistency. I know it sounds confusing, but those of you in the fitness industry know exactly what I'm talking about. So being consistent is about turning up and doing the training and doing the diet, but knowing when to stop or to tweak it accordingly, and to train safely as well. If you go to the gym and you overtrain, you're going to do the damage in peak week. So I'm not going to overtrain, because I am exactly where I need to be. And I'll increase the water. So there's little things like that you've got to know as well, about the beauty side of it as well. So if you are ever doubting yourself when you're on the diet, don't feel guilty if you have to miss a workout, because you don't want to risk an injury. And you are learning about your body. You're learning about nutrition, diet and fitness, and you're learning about how to listen to your body, which is so important. And that's one thing that I've learned. Listen to your body, get the rest, and make sure that you are safe when you're on the diet and training. So when I'm fatigued, I will tweak the carbs, like I've mentioned earlier, or I will increase the protein and increase the fats. But don't forget, if you're on a calorie deficit, which I am, or you're on a calorie maintenance, you still need to know your macros. And I've been doing it for years, so I kind of know from memory what I'm doing. So the next thing that I want to talk about is how the diet and training can mess with your head. Now, in the fitness industry, as a bikini athlete, we're behind the scenes, backstage, and we all feel like crap, but we all look amazing before we get on stage. So we've got this mantra, which is, when you look in the mirror, the worse you feel, the better you look. And it is true, because the worse you feel on peak week, when you're doing the cutting diet and the training, the worse you feel, the better you look. So say I've come out of the shower, I'll look in the mirror, I don't feel like it because I'm feeling down. I'll look in the mirror, I'll flex and I'll be like, wow, you look great. And then I'll go back to doing what I'm doing. So you've got to allow yourself to give yourself the self-admiration, as well as being okay with the doubts, like the thoughts that cross your mind, like clouds doubting you. It's normal. It's not a doubt. It's like a ghost of doubt. You've got to see it like a passing cloud, and you've got to have faith that that cloud will go and it won't last forever. And, listen to music if you want to uplift your spirit. Say a prayer if you have faith. I do all of that. And also pray for other people and give them positive love energy if you have negative people around you, because that helps you even more than them. I'm going to put my lipstick on now, guys. For my listeners, you're going to hear my lipstick. For the viewers, you're going to see a pink lipstick. So hopefully my lipstick's not smudged. I love Barbie pink. I've got Candy Yum Yum by MAC, but this one is, I'll do a makeup podcast soon. This one is a pink one by, I don't know who it's by, Max Factor. It's this one. I'm holding up a pink lipstick, guys. So guys, I just want to talk about maintaining your positive mindset. You have to have friends to talk to who will talk you through those moments of doubt, or when you feel crap and you want to cry for no reason. That's the diet messing with your head. And also, social media is great, but you don't want to be doom scrolling. You don't want to be scrolling for positive mindset affirmations when you feel down. The best thing to do is come off your phone and watch a movie, or just watch something that uplifts you, and laughter and music. So my medicine is music and my medicine is laughter. But on peak week, you don't do a lot of laughing, if I'm honest. You really feel the struggle as your body's adjusting to the new low-fat body percentage. And if you've got a friend you can talk to who understands what you're doing, that's great. But if not, you've got to kind of build in silence, be okay with being self-reliant. And you're never alone, although you feel alone. But being lonely is part of this whole diet and fitness world that we live in, and we learn to deal with it. One of the things that I've learned about me that came up on my social media, it was a video about if you're neglected as a child, which we were because my mum was agoraphobic. I love my mum, rest in peace. She was an amazing mother. She was ahead of her time. She was a single mum in the 70s, but she was agoraphobic. She was on medication for depression and agoraphobia. She hardly ever went out. I'm a bit like that. I don't like going out too much, but we kind of were neglected as kids because my mum was a single mum and we didn't have a father. So when I was bullied at school, you become super reliant, self-reliant, and I had no one to help me with the bullies when I was beaten up and my nose was broken. So I used sport to escape the bullies, and I run for Great Britain as a high school athlete. And even in my adult years, you guys know that I'm an athlete as a bikini athlete using fitness for mental strength. And I don't like to sound overly dramatic, but when you go through childhood trauma, which I know I have, you don't carry it around with you, and because you don't know any different. So I kind of try not to look at those things, and I just exist in my Barbie happy place and give love and peace and blessings to people, because that's the essence of who I am, and who I want to be is who I am. I am Barbie. And let's get back to being very self-reliant. You motivate yourself, but Stevie is my bestie and he really helps me when I'm struggling. So thank you, Stevie. You know who you are. I'm going to get him on the podcast one day because he's got his own body transformation and he's an incredible performer as well. So the problem with having a strong mindset means that you don't reach out to people. And I don't like the word problem. So the challenge you face if you're a self-reliant, self-validated person is that you don't rely on people to help you through the dark times. So do things like watch a motivational video. So I'll always be there for my friends, but then I'm okay now with relying on them if I need their help for something. And it's usually a half an hour phone conversation, but or messaging throughout the day. But you just get on with it. And I do get on with it because I don't know any different. I'm working with everything in my life and it's just very, very, very challenging, but I wouldn't swap it for anything. If you're a self-motivated person and people lean on you, you sometimes have a struggle to lean on them. And I would say part of being authentic is to lean on your friends and be vulnerable, and be vulnerable with people that you're with in your life, because being overly strong can give the wrong impression. And I've learned that if I feel weak, I'll have one or two friends that I can talk to who totally get me. They're not going to make me feel bad about feeling down, and they'll lift me up. But most of the time, I don't bother people with my issues because I deal with it and get on with it. And that's my training. That's what I've been doing since a child. I don't have any parents around me, and family, I'm a mum. So I'm very grateful. I've got my son, he's a young adult, and I've got a handful of really close friends who just are amazing. So back to the diet. When you're on the depletion diet, know how to get extra rest and don't overtrain because you'll risk injury. Sometimes you might feel like crying because you're on a depletion diet or the training's so hard. You feel like, why am I doing this? It's not fair. I want to go out, but I'm training in the gym. I don't think like that, but I know people who do. So if I feel teary, it's just because I'm exhausted and because I need to do something like this and make me feel better. So you just have to hug yourself in your head and get on with it. And there's no easy road. There's no easy road to success. And if you've got these demons in your head, which I've battled with demons all of my life, you have to almost like befriend the demon, put it to rest and put it to sleep if you can. And that's really how I do it. I live in my Barbie happy place and I don't fight the demons, be okay with them in my head, like the noise, the endless chatter, and think that's not me, that's my demons talking. If you like, focus on other people, because sometimes when you focus on other people, you forget your little worries for that moment or for that day. And on a final note, Liam Payne, rest in peace, died after he fell from a third floor balcony at a hotel in Argentina. The police are still investigating it and it's really awful. Rest in peace, Liam Payne. I can't believe, I think he's 31, he's gone. It's horrific. And so many reports have come out about what happened, who saw what and who said what and what he was dealing with after One Direction disbanded. But I still think this. People say you never know what people are dealing with behind the smiles. I looked at a report and it said that his son Bear is 7 years old and now he hasn't got a father. And I think Cheryl Tweedy, I think she uses her name Tweedy now because it was Cheryl Cole, wasn't it? She has said that her son Bear, who she had with Liam Payne, has no father and he's only 7. And that triggered the fact that I lost contact with my dad and I have no memory before the age of 7 and I can't remember my dad being around. So I never knew my father and I met him when I was 16, 17 for a couple of weeks, maybe 1 week. And so it triggered in me a memory that traumas make you who you are. And I was in therapy years ago because of it and I learned. But trauma can heal, but it's always leaving the scars, but you've got to live with the scars. But one thing that I'd say is try and be okay with dealing with your past traumas and just living with the scar, but being positive and seeing it in a positive light, because there's always triggers out there every day. But I like to be on my own. So find those things that are self-healing and be okay with being lonely and make it positive. And you'll be fine and you'll get through it. So guys, that brings me to the end of the podcast. Thank you for listening to the Parody Podcast show hosted by me, Rachel Evans, aka the Human Barbie. And I'm sending you peace, love, and big Barbie hugs and kisses. And I love you guys. Thank you. Leave me comments and follow me on Instagram, Rachel Evans Bikini with the underscores. Barbie love and hugs, guys. Peace and love. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye, guys.